she's like asking me things and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look back, the trade is gone. And then I'm mad, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I got to get in.
Oh my God. So, it's over. All right, guys, welcome back. Another TFT podcast. Today I'm joined by Abdullah. He's a six-figure trader, 6 figures in payouts. He's coming based out of Houston. And yeah, we're excited to have you on. Welcome to the pod.
Man, thanks for having me on. Nice meeting you.
You as well. So to get started, give the people a bit of background, on yourself.
Yeah. So I'll give some background on myself and how I got started and how I got here. Yeah. So I started trading in 2020 before we really knew we were like in pandemic proper. Mm-hmm. My brother, I have 2 brothers. All 3 of us are software engineers, right? My brother comes home one day and he's like, yeah, I quit. We were working for the same company. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I quit, man. He made our yearly salary in 1 month, like trading stocks, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what?
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah. And normally it takes me a while to switch like careers because I go like really deep, and wide, right? Mm. But once he like came home and said he made our yearly salary in a month, I'm like, dude, I need to get into this, right? So I went back to one of my friends that had like recently, like 2019, he had quit his job, bought a crib and a new whip, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you quit your job and you bought a crib and a new whip. So what are you doing, right? Mm-hmm. So he was doing Forex, right? So he had been trying to get me in it like 2 years prior to that. So now that my brother has validated like something about trading and then my friend, I'm like, all right, I need to learn this, right? So my friend was in multi-level marketing though, right? So he's giving.
Is that how he was making money from the multi-level marketing?
Yeah.
Oh man, listen, it's a way.
Yeah, it's a way, right?
It's a hustle.
So as he's giving me the spill, he's telling me about both sides. I'm like, I don't want to hear about the multi-level marketing side. Like, tell me about the trading side, right? So he's like, you join, you put these numbers in signals, and you'll make 10% of whatever of your balance in the account. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, this sounds like a miracle, right?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, it is. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I signed up with him. It didn't last for like 2 weeks, right? First 2 weeks, I lost like 2,500. You know what I'm saying? Taking signals, US 30, SPX 500.
Lose your money quick. US 30.
Quick. I had no idea what a lot size is. Like, they said put this number in. Here's the TP. Here's the stop loss. I'm like, do I use 0.01 or 1.0? And he's just telling me like what to do, right? And quickly blew that money. I quickly saw that wasn't the way. So I found a few academies, right? Mm-hmm. Got some education. And then I got funded with FTMO May 2021. And then from there, I just focused on consistent payouts with them first. Then I went to a few other prop firms, got some more accounts. And then from there, man, I just focused on payouts. And then I went full time. And then now I'm here, trying to focus on getting like 2 million in capital. Yeah.
So you started pretty much 3 years ago.
Yeah.
With trading, right? And you were working at the time a full-time job. Are you still working a full-time job?
No, full-time trading now.
You're out now.
I'm out. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. It feels great, man. To have the freedom. Yeah.
And so it looks like you got the X, you got the Profit X. So you started up your own thing.
Yeah, I started up. So I have 2 businesses. It's my trading business, then I have like a trading community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I started a YouTube channel and then unintendedly stumbled into having a trading community just because people were asking for more.
Bring me up to speed. So what platforms are you on? Social media, right? Yeah. You're somewhat of an influencer, right? On Twitter or something?
No, so
what is it?
It's YouTube.
YouTube,
and so YouTube is almost like 30K subscribers.
That's fire.
IG is at about 30K almost now too. So it happened in a relatively small amount of time. So like September 2022, I really kind of got out there on YouTube.
How did you grow? How did you grow the channel?
So I think it's from 2 things. Number one is since I was an engineer, I understand data. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for what the algorithm. I'm reading like the specs of the algorithm, what the algorithm looks for, like retention, things like that, right? So my trading videos have a lot of like B-roll, a lot of great editing, and also great information. Like along my education journey, I went through the IG influencers, like the major names, their courses, and then I went to SMB Capital. I think Kyle talked about them before. Yeah, so when I got that pro level education, that's when things changed for me.
Oh, you trained with SMB Capital?
I took their training courses.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying.
What's that involved? How do you get involved in that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like they have like one for like 5K. They have like one for 9K. So it's you sign up. You can go in their morning meetings, and they teach you the habits of the pros.
It's probably super legit, honestly.
Brother, man, I'm telling you, it's like, you get in there and you realize like, man, like most of us retail traders that are just trading CFDs, we have no clue like what the pros are doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just standard for them. It's like, are you recording your screens? What?
No, for sure. I read this book. It's called The Playbook.
I read it. Yeah, it's one of the top.
That's, if you haven't read that book, that's, in my opinion, probably the top trading book. It's hard to read.
Yeah, it is hard to read.
It's long, dude. It's like a manual, pretty much. Not even like a book. It's like a textbook. But one of the things that stood out in the book for me was it's actually the playbook, like your setups. So you're constantly documenting, you're journaling, and then you're figuring out like what are your best plays, basically, and you're constantly reviewing those, and you're building that basically book that you always are taking these plays, and you're very defined in what those are, and you're constantly reviewing, constantly looking for new opportunities that resemble those plays, so new variations of it. So they're like huge on that, like journaling, because they're doing meetings like in the beginning of the day, the end of the day. If you're a new trader, you're meeting with the more experienced traders like constantly. Did you get any of that experience, like to meet with some of the more professional traders, or no?
Yeah. So I read, like the reason I took the training was because I read the book One Good Trade by Mike Bellafiore. He's the same guy that wrote the playbook. Yeah. So in that book, he details out like how he builds prop firm traders. You know what I'm saying? Because their model is to bring traders in, they trade their capital, so they have to get them to a certain level, right? So in that book, he talks about all of the skill sets that you need, and one of them is the playbook, and that's really one that really helped like my trading career, because now it's like you build the playbook and you center your trading around it. You know what I'm saying? And everything that goes in the playbook has to be validated by data, right? So it's like I know exactly like what's likely to be my win rate and R&R of this particular setup, right? So I know out of 10 trades, I'm expecting to win, 6 trades or whatever, right? So, but in that environment, you just meet the guys, like they have a morning meeting, you hear the like top trader, he's talking about what he's trading, how he filters the market, how the screeners that they use to see like what's in play. You know what I'm saying? So
because they're going through a lot of pairs. Probably,
right?
That's
the difference, right? Like between us, it's like you hear like only trade one pair, or you trade a few pairs, but they're trading what's in play. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever they find that matches their playbook. So they're scanning the market with AI. You know what I'm saying? And screeners, right? And they're gonna they get like a basket of stocks for the day. Like this is what we're focused on for the day. You know, so yeah.
Bro, that's crazy. It is very different than the average CFD trader. Like it's like trade GU, stick to one pair, stick to one setup. But no, they're like, to your point, they're getting either a department to overview the market and then to deliver them that playbook, where then they make those decisions on like a more one-on-one basis, right, in the moment. And, that's elevating their edge, essentially, right? So I had met a trader this weekend who actually had an analyst on his like team. Like he had a little trading team. We had an analyst and a psychologist, and that was like assisting him in his trading journey. There's not a lot of people that are doing that though. Right?
And see, and that's the thing about it. Like that changed my perspective, because they taught me 4 stages, right? Stage 1 is consistency. Like just becoming consistent with a few setups, and that's where like this stage is where you just build the discipline not to trade if you don't see your setups. You know what I'm saying? This is where you learn the relationship between risk to reward. These little small things that traders need to learn and become good at, right? Then the second stage after consistency is size. Now you start to scale up, right? In the prop firm space, it's like you gain more, you start to acquire more prop firm capital, right? But consistency's first, right? So consistency, then the sizing. Then the third, which surprised me, was the amount of setups you have, right? So it's like you get consistent with a few, then you hit stage 3. Now you open up your, like the world is your oyster, right? Basically, right? So like, and then one other thing that like in this stage of breadth and adding setups, like they don't identify each other as scalpers or intraday or swingers. They all like develop those different skill sets from like, so a person may be more inclined to
They might do all of them.
Yeah, like so a person like literally may be inclined to more like scalping or intraday, but they develop the different skills, right? And they have different, like those different setups in their playbook, right? Because the market is different. You know what I'm saying? Like the summertime gets real weird, it starts to get flat, you know. So they're like, if you end the month break even, then you were negative, right? Because their idea is that they want to maximize capital and maximize time, right? So so now I'm looking at myself like I'm an intraday, I'm more inclined to intraday. But now that I've become consistent with intraday, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to build my scalping skill set so that if it's more flat, the market's more flat. I trade US 30, right? So if the market is more flat and it's ranging, then I have the skills to scalp the range, right?
Dude, this isn't easy.
It's not.
This is not like, dude, this is so difficult to go from intraday, right? You're intraday trading, you're earning your blue belt, you're earning your black belt in intraday trading, and then now you're like, I'm gonna start scalping, right? And so how do you even go about like maintaining the confidence level, right, in the intraday trading while you're trying to learn how to scalp? You know what I mean? Like, when do you take scalping live, right? What are you doing to actually learn scalping, right? Like, what's the actual play?
And see, that's the key, man. The key is that you do scalping or these new setups, you paper trade them. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, they just jump live, right, into whatever they're doing, and they hurt their P&L, they lose their account, they lose their funded account, et cetera, right? Or they're trying new strategies out with a challenge. So I've had the discipline to paper trade like new setups, you know what I'm saying? Like in the demo and the humility, right? To trade them in the demo. So normally that's what I'm doing, right? Like literally
takes a lot of humility.
Takes a lot of humility.
You know?
Yeah. And like on the point of humility, like literally like recently I took like a 5K challenge, beat both phases, and I got like 4 payouts with it. Just so that I can show like beginner traders like, hey, you don't have to start off with $300K account. You can start off with a 5K account and build your skill set and, you know, become confident, right?
Yeah, so it's so hard for people to accept that situation as their reality. Yeah, and to know that all that work is only going to result in $100, right, or like $50. But from the people that I've spoken with, there seems to be a consistent trend that before they go for the 100K, the 50K, they are doing this. They're trading like the 10K, the 5K. They're demo trading. They're trading the free trial on FTMO, right? Yeah. Like they're really testing it to a point where they know before they hop in that they're gonna go. Like I've talked to a lot of traders this weekend. They're just like hopping in. You know, like going 100K. Yeah. And they don't even have the experience. Yeah. Which is not good.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Like since the industry isn't regulated, like to a particular you know, point.
It's not regulated at all.
You know what I'm saying, at all. So it's like, you know, and people don't have like a clear person. Right? It's kind of hard to gauge yourself, like or measure yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if Steph Curry just put on like a one-on-one tournament and was like, hey, you know, put up $1,000 and, you know, I'll give you 10K if you can beat me. They have no idea who Steph Curry is, and he's just like dominating out there, like cleaning up. You know, it's like that's the market. Like people are just literally. Literally, like they don't know the market. They don't know what the market will do to them, how it will, you know, drain their money. So they just kind of jump in without any credentials, any certificates, you know. So I think that's kind of like something that kind of hurts us, you know.
I love that analogy because I think trading is extremely similar to sports. Yeah. I mean, any competitive, you know, activity at the end of the day, sports is one of them. The market is a bear. It's an absolute animal. And the company was started on the theory that the market's going to be extremely hard and the odds of the traders passing the challenges is going to be really low. And I knew that the goal was to find the people who ultimately could beat the market. And even the people that become funded, even them are struggling because it's all the psychology of now I have a funded account. Am I going to go big? Am I going to be trying to game the system, this and that? I'm going to risk 2 to 4% per trade, right? So that is the thinking. It's like people got to stop assuming that this is easy. Yeah. It's easy in the sense that the access, right? The access to it is easy. You're in your house. You have Wi-Fi. You're locked in. You have the opportunity.
And that's another thing that I learned from SMB. They were like, this is similar to being a professional athlete. like at the professional level, like NBA level. So once I heard that, I'm like, man, I've been thinking about it all wrong, right? So I actually went to a psychologist, and I was like at a certain level, like with my funding accounts, and every time I would hit like a certain percent, like let's say like 12% in profit, I couldn't break the ceiling. Like I would just get scared. I would start to doubt myself. And when I went to her, she said that I was self-sabotaging. And I'm like, no way. I'm an ambitious guy. I'm a man like beating my chest like, no way, right?
That ain't me.
Yeah. And so she's like, no, she's listening to my language. Like at the time I was working at home and I wanted to get in an office, but I said I didn't deserve it until I got like 400K in capital or whatever. And she's like, you don't deserve it. So she's like, you know that you need the office, but you won't get it because you don't feel like you're deserving of it, right? So she's like, you're sabotaging yourself because you won't get the office. She's like, once you get the office, you'll be able to hit your goal. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy, right? So she's like, if you notice, so she's talked to me about I start unraveling my childhood, right? And she's like, don't you notice every time, like in your childhood or like in your just as you became an adult, every time you hit a certain level, you just kind of scale back. You kind of like get comfortable and complacent. And I'm like, damn, I've been sabotaging myself like my entire life, right? So that bled over into trading. So like when Mike Bellafiore, like in the book, he talks about having like, they have like trading psychologists on the floor, like where the trader can kind of walk in and talk to them. I'm like, damn, the average retail trader has no clue that this even exists and that they probably need this kind of stuff, So
it's necessary.
Yeah.
I actually got this idea from the show Billions and also like The Sopranos. Yeah. Like in The Sopranos, he goes to the therapist, right? And I'm like, oh, this big boss going to therapist. But the Billions, it's it's a trading firm. They have the psychologist in the building. The leader of the company is constantly going in, trying to unpack his ideas, why he's not able to, like you're saying, have these limiting beliefs or hitting like some type of wall. So I actually went, at the time it was like a psychoanalyst, and I was trying to figure out like what are these insecurities I have, these doubts, like how do I overcome them? Why am I thinking about these things a certain way? And they like pushed me to have these new webs of thinking, to think and to uncover like truly what were those anchors that were holding me down. And that's what opened like those decisions that I decided on from those sessions is what opened up the door to like an abundance of the opportunity. So I think more people need to take advantage of these resources. And now that I think of it more, I do think like a sports psychologist is a good person to speak with because you're trying to perform.
And TFT, at the end of the day, you should get the psychologist for your funded traders.
People have spoken about it a lot, actually. I think it's something that would be extremely beneficial for the people, realistically. But the sad part is I don't think a lot of people would sign up for it.
Try it out, man. Yeah. one of the people across the way has it, and I was using it like every month. I would try it. Yeah.
FTMO.
Yeah.
You were using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would try it out for your funded.
Well, let's hear it. With what does it consist of? Like the sessions.
Yeah.
What's the cadence of it?
So you get one free one every month.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fire.
Yeah. So every month you just sign up. So whether you're in profit and you're doing good or you go into drawdown, right? Like with FTMO, when I first started, I went into drawdown, right? And that's where I learned about the drawdown playbook, like switching up how you trade, like when you're in drawdown, and dynamic risk. Like I created a dynamic risk table. Like as I started to go in drawdown, I started to reduce my risk, right? So it was that time when I like relied on the psychologist to help me also like get out of drawdown. And then also when I was in profit doing good, they helped me push like my boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I think that
helped you like killer. Stay locked in. And also just, I mean, as you know, man, anything in life, bro, sometimes it's like you're like 1 degree away from, what you like breaking through, like a breakthrough, right? So it's like with trading, it's like you tweaking this, you tweaking that. And then now it's like, hey, I don't really know what I'm missing. You talk to somebody else and it's clear to them, but it's not clear to you, right? So I think that would like really help out, some of the traders. Isn't that crazy how like you just said, you're 1 degree away or one decision away, and ultimately the person holding you back is like really always yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like some people like very early on will think, oh, this prop firm did this, or oh, my friend did this, or whatever. Like this, the president did this. It's like it is really you. Like you got to start making better decisions. You got to figure out what's right for you. Like how did you have a pretty good mindset. You're open-minded to what you need in terms of the psychologist, this and that. Like, were you always like this, or did this change and you became like this?
Yeah, I think like growing up, I think I was kind of forced to always look for change, just like growing up in poverty. I don't want to go down that, like, it kind of sounds like victimhood, but it's just like through circumstance.
Just reality.
The reality and circumstances kind of pushed me, you know. But I got into engineering, right? And what happened was, as an engineer, I had like a ceiling of maybe like $250K a year, right? So like I'm earning, like I'm jumping jobs and jumping positions. I was like right under VP level, you know, in my old position. And just pushing and reading books, just expanding and growing, right? Kind of helped me. But it was one book, Think and Grow Rich, where he really, like, in that book, it really just kind of like laid out like 13 principles that you can kind of live by to help you like continue to expand, right? So I think that book right there, in the book, he says that persistence is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith, right? So it's like that continued push, be like pushing over the edge. Like I'm on the edge, and every time like I continue to, you know, break through, just continue to, you know, persist, right? That right there is kind of opened me up to, you know, learning new things, learning new concepts, expanding my mind, you know, and just constantly looking at what I can change about myself to grow, you know. When I first went into corporate, man, I had like, I couldn't really talk. I'm from the South. You know what I'm saying? I talked with I talked out of the side of my mouth. I talked with hard slang, you know? You know? So I'm in those environments and people are looking at me kind of weird because I didn't have the lingo, you know? So I had to make adjustments.
The etiquette,
the lingo, the business language, you know what I'm saying? The acumen, right? So I had to learn those things like on the job, like OTJ, you know, on the job training, you know what I'm saying? OJT, right? So all those kind of experiences kind of like prepared me for trading, where it's like, my whole entire life has been about growth. My entire corporate career has been about growth, you know. And I've read hundreds of books, bro. And it's that right there has really helped me as well, you know. Yeah,
the books is what opens it up in terms of having all this different information, all this different knowledge. Like anyone that, as of now, that feels as though they're someone like maybe in the position you were in where they feel they can't communicate effectively at a high level, right? Or they don't have good ideas or this or that. You have to realize how important reading really is.
Yeah.
To the, like, there's a reason that historically some of the most effective, smartest people habitually have libraries, or they just read a ton of books.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, oh, read a book a week, this and that. Like read 5 pages a day.
Yeah.
Read 10 pages a day. Like for me, right as of right now, I try to read every single day. Like not this weekend when I always put people here. But I try to read every single day. And that will bring through to me ideas, which I would never have thought of. It pushes me to think in a new direction. It's almost similar to seeing a therapist.
Exactly.
Reading that book.
Because or having a mentor.
You're gaining some valuable insight. Somebody put this out there because that's what they were thinking about.
Yeah.
So it's like help push your mind in another direction so you can think at a high level. You can really educate yourself in this day and age that we live in, like extremely effectively.
Yeah. Like one of the books I read, Market Wizards.
Yeah,
man, changed my entire
the book. Yeah,
view, right? Like, and they have a series, right? So you may have read one of the books in the series, but you know, coming from the IG perspective, like, you know, you have these pods of people that communicate certain ideas, like, you know, we don't do scalping, or, you know, this is a certain amount. Like you see this guy making a certain amount of money, and then you kind of get like stuck in this paradigm of thinking about trading. When I read Market Wizards, like all those guys are like 100 millionaires making money from trading different types of ways, right? Robots, discretionary trading, swing trading, scalping, whatever, right? So reading that book right there just opened me up. And I'm like, man, I'm just this small little fish in this big old, huge ocean. And if I trade from the higher time frame narrative, and I figure out like where the higher time frame narrative is going through macroeconomics, et cetera, I can carve out a little piece consistently. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, like just reading books, you know, getting into circles through a book, like those guys I would probably never meet, you know. But
and you don't need to meet them.
And I don't need to meet them,
no,
right?
Like,
they package their knowledge up, right? Put it in a book, and now I have these ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about like the summit and how, it's cool that Bob Elliott was there, right? And he gave that speech and stuff. But like in the world we live in, we don't really need that. Like, it's all online, right? All this, we could go on. We could have went online and listened to podcasts, this and that, and like got a ton of wealth of information. So I almost feel like now what could be so much more powerful are like workshopping and like sharing ideas, like actually putting people together and challenging them to either debate or to like literally just come up with new ideas on different problems. Like, I feel like that's the type of stuff to do in person now.
I think so too.
Versus just like, let me listen to this lecture, because we don't all need to come together to listen to this guy in front of the room.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this podcast is the same. Yeah. Like, people are listening to this and they're just long form. They're in their home, more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So I was like thinking about that. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, it's cool that he was there, but at the same time, like, who really cares? He's on the internet.
He's on the internet. I think most of the workshops and conferences should be designed about like designing a workshop kind of like format, right? You
think
come
so.
in, you build something together, or you do some sort of simulated like project. You know what I'm saying? And then like you share ideas, like you said, right? Maybe we come together, we look at a particular case scenario with Bob Elliott, right? And then we figure out how we would approach it together.
That
like,
would be crazy.
Team. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. We all could walk away with something much more like in a situation like that.
Well, that's something that instead of just being like motivation or inspiration or insight, like that could actually grind the gears and get you thinking a certain way that you can then take and continue to use in terms of like your problem solving ability and stuff like that's true development that people seek and that look for. So I thought the summit was overall very positive. I think coming together and meeting everyone is important. Network is important. What is your like approach to networking? Like, are you a good networker? Like, would you consider yourself a big networker or no? Like, not as much.
I'm naturally like an introvert. You know what I'm saying? So I've read how to win friends and influence people. Not from like an evil perspective or a demonic perspective, but just like helping the introvert, right? Like how do you approach people, right? So there are people that I met this weekend that I've been wanting to meet and introduce myself to. So I just use some things from that book, like just kind of like my approach is like, how can I help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do to help you, right? Not like you just kind of jump in there and like, hey man, can you do this for me? Right? That's like the wrong approach,
Everybody.
So, everybody's just like, let me stick the tip in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you got a date, you got this little foreplay. You know what I'm saying? You need some foreplay.
Seriously, right? Though.
Seriously, right? Though. So now like I took a different approach, right?
You gotta warm it up.
Gotta warm it up, right?
Like,
So that's my approach now. It's just kind of like, how can I help this person? Like, what are they doing? What kind of projects do they have going on? And rather than just like looking at like what they can do for me, I'll just try to figure out what I can do for them. And then, I mean, just genuinely as a human being, how can I help you? And then later on, man, it just comes back later on somehow. You know what I'm saying?
You got to plant seeds. I think you got to understand truly the position that you're in, in terms of, do you at this point, you have any value to this person? Right? I get it. Like, there's a difference between being a fan and you trying to approach someone and like try to like pitch an idea. Like, you got to realize that you can't jump. You can't jump levels. To all of a sudden be pitching an idea and it's like, holy shit, now I'm working with this. Like, from my perspective, like for me, obviously I have a very vast network of people in the industry at the current moment. But once upon a time, I didn't have that, right? I needed to plant those seeds and I needed to do a lot of personal and self-development and business development to get to the point where those doors open, those conversations were there. And then I was putting a play in front of them that was a better play than anything that they had available. And then it's like, oh shit, Angelo's like coming serious and we need to listen, right? As opposed to like you run up to someone and you're just like, and it's like, dude, you're pissing this person off. Like, you're you're literally annoying. Like, so that's like, even I met I was playing tennis and I don't know if you know who Dave Grootman is, but he owns like Live nightclub and all these different restaurants in Miami. He's like Mr. Miami, right? Komodo, like all the big time restaurants. So he was playing tennis and I was like, this guy is like the man. Like he owns everything. Like, he's a successful businessman. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, like, don't want to waste your time. I just look up to you. Like, and that's it. Like, I'm not like, dude, I'm doing this and this and that. Like, dude, like, you want to be friends? Like, no, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he wants to just keep playing tennis. You know what I mean? And now, like, realistically, he's met me before, maybe at some point later on, I stumble across his path and say, hey, you know, we actually talked one time at the 10, and then there's that familiarity in terms of each other, and so that's something that can be a conversation starter.
Yeah.
So, but that's what people are trying to just jump. Levels, they're trying to jump. We were talking about before, the 5K to the 200K.
Yeah,
you're trying to jump all the way up, but it's like, no, you got to realize that this truly is a long game.
Yeah,
right. And if you play the long game, in the short game, there could be a play that all of a sudden happens that makes your income go astronomical.
Yeah,
right. Like things could happen.
That's it.
Opportunity can happen. Like luck can happen.
Yep. And I think in trading, like it's the same. Like if you build a strong foundation. I think like people skip over like that demo paper trading phase, building the playbook phase. They kind of skip over it and they jump to like stage 4, like the stage 4, those stages I was mentioning earlier. The stage 4 is like complexity, like algorithms, you know, filters, scanners, things like that, right? So if you don't build the foundation and you're just trying to size up and you're trying to add all these setups, then it's going to be shaky. But if you build a strong foundation with your trading, then once you have that foundation, all of a sudden, like I was just like investing money into my trading, like career, challenges, education, and then all of a sudden, boom, big payout. You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like I have like almost like about 800K like in funding, right? And then I have like $1 million in phase 2 right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so literally, yeah, it's like. And I would have never imagined I just have like $1 million sitting in phase 2, and I'm just waiting for the summer. I'm trying to think about like how I'm going to trade it, but July is normally very choppy, so I may just wait until August, like you know, and just kind of hit the TFT chat and you know the others and say, hey man, can I extend and wait? I think it's like 60 days I have to before it like becomes inactive. Yeah, so yeah, but that's how
you
it
haven't
is.
taken a trade.
I haven't taken a trade on them.
Legit waiting.
I'm legitimately, and that's the other thing.
If you wait, you could just say if the account expires, you just
there you go.
Give me another account.
And that's the other thing. Like I did the docu-series like on me passing this 300K challenge, and everybody's like wanting me to rush and like, hey, have you taken the trade yet? It's like, no, I'm waiting on A+ setups to appear, and then I'm going to take the trade. And then like people saw me this weekend, like I passed that docu-series challenge in like April 26th, and they're like, did you pass phase 2 yet? Like, no, I've been busy. Like, dude, I'm not gonna just like jump into trades or just, you know, I'm not trying to hurry up and finish this. I'm gonna finish the challenges, like the phases, using the best setups. You know what I'm saying? So even the discipline to wait, like if you know that July is not a good month, just wait. Don't take your phase 2. Like wait until August. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Legit. And it's kind of interesting because since you're putting yourself out there like this, right, in terms of the docu-series, you're public about the results and this and that, you're actually asking for these people to create doubt.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this, like the devil, like coming in and it's like in the form of this person. And they're like, Abdullah, why haven't you taking a trade?
Yeah.
And it's testing your will.
Yeah,
because now it's like opened up to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's the same with me. I mean, they're like, Angelo, when are you changing this? When are you changing that?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all these little voices, all this little talk.
Yep.
You got to really lock in and like not be distracted by this stuff, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's when you really realize it's just with you making your own decisions.
Yep.
And I always think about this when like in a basketball game when they're at the free throw line and like everyone's going nuts.
Yeah. Like
these guys have just literally calmed themselves to the point where they're just like, it's just me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is.
Dude, man, my wife knows. That like those voices like really kind of got to me at a certain point. And even like in the docu-series, like I recorded the MetaTrader 5, you can see it. My entries were late because there was like maybe 10 seconds late because before I took a trade, it was like, what if you make a mistake? What will they think? You know what I'm saying? I still passed it, you know, but my execution wasn't as good. And it reminded me of like a Steph Curry or a Kobe, you know, and how they've been able to silence the voices, you know.
No voices.
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I think this actually just helped me out because I eventually want to like, you know, run a trading floor or like have a team, like as you mentioned, like analysts, psychologists, et cetera. So I need to have that sort of like resolve, you know, where it's like, I'm confident in what I do. I've done it before. I've seen it, you know, 1,000 times. So, you know, silence, you know, and just execution,
Yeah.
focus, right? Like Tiger's dad would like wrestle the keys and all of that. Like whenever he'd just come up on him and wrestle the keys in his ear, you know, and have a blowhorn, you know, like while he's about to swing, you know, to kind of help him be able to silence those voices, you know. So it's interesting. I do like a lot of prayer and like meditation. Yeah,
that shit's like serious.
Yeah,
you know, distraction. Like, and I think you said about the trading floor. I think a lot of people fail to realize that trading is an opportunity to create income, but for exponential income, you need to expand.
Yes.
Right? It's all about the expansion. So in terms of the floor, it's this would be my idea for the floor. It's kind of like you have that strategy, the playbook, and then you have the psychology aspect of it. Like you've been in many situations and you document those situations and how to handle them or overcome them.
Yep.
And then it's sort of like hiring people, and it's like kind of like making your own prop firm.
Yeah.
And you're now putting people into place so that they use that playbook and they use that psychology training to essentially scale yourself up so you can manage more capital, because there is a risk of like just one guy managing a ton of capital.
It is.
Because if something happens in your life, family, whatever, you know, personal, it will affect the results.
Yeah.
And if one person is only on top of that, then, you know, it definitely could be negative, right?
And it goes back to that workshopping that you were talking about. When you have multiple people, you have a team. You already know. When you have multiple people, multiple ideas, brilliant minds, then it's like people can form theses. They can look at different parts of the market. Like I was listening to a podcast. This guy says that they have like offices in 80 countries. Like this is a trading company. They have offices in 80 countries, and they trade every session, right? So London, New York, they trade every session, all these different assets. So that means that's like they have like pods, they have leaders in those pods, and they have, you know, maybe they have like think tanks, right? And they're forming different ideas and they have different playbooks, right? So that's scaling up to the hundreds, you know.
Bro, I'm just thinking how hard that must be. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because what we're dealing with is really learning how to, whether it's pods or just teams, like how to install leaders into those teams, how to not let leaders come in too early where then they drive a culture that's not like appropriate in terms of what our culture really is. Like this is not easy, this stuff, but this is why you make so much money. Because when you mobilize and lead people and those people then drive a product that affects everyone, I mean, that's like you're the top level of the game.
And then since I come from corporate, like I work for a company that had 80,000 employees, right?
Sheesh.
And I was a leader. I led 40 people, but they were broken up in pods. You know what I'm saying? So I learned the skill of leading leaders, you know? So I've read a lot about leadership. So you know what? I think that like, if we go back to the regular trader that's listening, it's like, you know, over time, your skills from different areas of your life start to stack, you know, and whatever like life experiences they have and whatever their skill sets is, they have to think about like, what are those skill sets that I have that I can bring into making my trading better, you know? I think just look for an entry point, you know, like a small account, 10K with TFT, you know, get like you'll have a lot of specials, that come out.
Or like the promo fucking machine.
Bro, that's good, man. That's why I love you guys too. You know, it's like, you know, a nice promo for the 300K account.
Bro, but this comes back to, you know, when I was trading with FTMO, never promo, right? Ever. And just in terms of like business 101, like call to actions will drive people to make decisions. So we could be running promos all the time, and it's not necessarily like the promo might not be the best thing in the world, even though we run like some pretty good promos. But like these call to actions are like what's going to actually make someone make a better decision. Someone was telling me about this concept where basically like Coca-Cola had a bunch of vending machines like all over the place. And then I guess they bought Pepsi or something, or they were affiliated with Pepsi, but they put a Pepsi machine next to the Coca-Cola machine. So it sort of was like making someone make a decision, Pepsi versus Cola. And then the revenue like boosted like 150% just from driving someone to make a decision, although it was like a competitor. Because it's like, oh shit, now I have two options and here's the option that I want to go with. Right? So that's my belief in terms of the promos. Like I don't give a fuck what people say about them.
No, man.
I'm driving them all the time.
We appreciate them. Really, so I have the Profit X community. We have about 300 students, right? And they all appreciate the promos, you know,
bro.
And then
when the people don't, I'm like, yo, you don't have to use them.
Yeah, you don't have to use it. Yeah. Just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the
Legit.
Discord though, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like legit. Like, I'm gonna be real about it. So like, you know, some of the other guys across the way, they don't have the Discord, the community, right? Then also, you're active in the community. Like, that was one thing. I'm like, man, this guy, I see Angelo popping up in the community, talking to people, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know,
That's
just reaching out to me. And I'm like, you know what? You know, I'm gonna really mess with, I'm gonna invest in the funded trader, you know what I'm saying? And invest in more accounts and get more deep into it, you know?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to become an evangelist to the company.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, you know, I've had this experience.
Yep.
When things go wrong, you know, I see how things are trying to be handled.
Yep.
And I'm going to keep supporting it. Like, it's deeper than, oh, we're just FTMO, whatever. We offer a challenge. We have good service.
You can't see the face.
No, like this business is relationships.
Yep.
Right? So
you go.
me being active and me being involved, it's like it shows that I'm someone who really believes in this company.
Yeah.
Sure, are there some businesses that I'm starting that I'm not as involved? You know, those are my ideas, and I'm just trying to implement systems and just let it run by itself.
Yep.
Sure, but when it comes to like the funded trader and you truly trying to revolutionize something,
Yep.
your presence is gonna be the factor that puts it over the edge,
Yep.
and that's why the funded trader has become so big.
Yeah.
Right, it's because I'm a
Fast.
leader.
You grew fast.
I'm a leader,
Yeah.
right? I'm trying to be as present as possible in the community. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm not there just to bust people up in
Yeah.
the chat, even though I do sometimes. I'm literally there because I'm studying. The Discord provides all this criticism.
Yeah. There you go.
So much criticism, bro. And I'm like, well, let's not get upset about this stuff, right? Let's get to work.
Yeah. You're responding though. You know, I see some of the updates coming out. So that's good. I mean, when you have a startup, you already know. You have a startup company, you're going to be refining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have an MVP, you're going to build out the MVP, and then you're going to put it out there, you're going to get some feedback, and you're going to refine. And then, you know, a good company, when you see updates, you see them listening to the feedback of the traders.
It's
now,
the key.
I have some feedback.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear the feedback.
So no. So I think 8cap has CFD stocks, right? So I trade US 30. So I've been trading US 30 for like 2 years now, you know, very successfully. And now I want to trade CFD stocks, like especially the members of US 30, right? So 8cap has the CFD stocks, but I'm not sure if they're like enabled, like with
They're disabled.
Okay.
And
okay.
FTMO, they have them.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, man.
They're available, equities and everything.
Can you make them available for me?
Can we make it happen?
Yeah.
It's part of the roadmap for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of the importance of the priority, it hasn't been prioritized.
Yeah, because you have to get enough people have to like ask for it.
Yeah, there's definitely has to be a level, but at the same time, like we know that offering it is something that could boost their things. I mean, a big thing right now is like the futures trading. You know, like people want like a futures platform, this and that, and like an offering around that. But yeah, I'm gonna consider the stocks, not even bullshit, like to look into what it would take to offer that, because it's not like complicated.
Yeah,
like ACAP offers.
I'm thinking that you can just
it's
hit a button,
CFDs.
toggle. It's a toggle.
Yeah, it's CFDs as well.
Yeah, so
sounds like it's a toggle.
Yeah, it's a toggle in the back. I'm a software developer, man.
Yeah.
It's a toggle, bro.
You know, once upon a time they were on.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They were
okay.
on. I for whatever reason we took them off. I think in terms of understanding the risk with them, with offering them, because it's kind of interesting because I don't believe they're 24/7 in terms of the timing in which you could trade them, even though they're CFDs. Like
yeah.
But it's interesting because like Robinhood is opening up the market to be 24/7 trading equities now, which is like kind of crazy.
Interesting.
You know, because traditionally those are closed. You know, and it's like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, what other feedback? Sounds like you got a bunch of people trading the challenges, this and that. What are some other things people are saying? A lot of 8cap haters right now. Right?
Yeah. I think we had some complaints about, you know,
slippage, this and that. Yeah.
You know, but also I think people really like the Royal account. And then they really like those what's it called? Those I'm blanking out. The instant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like some of them
people
like the instant account. You know, it's less it's like a 50-50 profit split. Yeah. Those as well.
What firm are they trading that on? The instant.
MFF.
Yeah, my Forex funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have some cool accounts.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Like the thing that's interesting is my Forex funds offers accounts And no one has tried to really imitate those accounts, those 50-50 accounts. And they offer one where it's like you earn 12% or something. And like you sign up and you get paid out right away. And then you build up like a funded account or something. Yeah,
it's like the rapid account, I think.
Yeah. They have the rapid, accelerated, and then the traditional 2-phase challenge. So the thing is, like, those accounts, the reason we never opted to go in that direction is because I never really understood whether it was fair to offer those to traders because the price is high.
Yeah, the price is higher.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for a consistent trader, it could be good, but it could be detrimental for a beginner.
Well, you know beginners are gonna buy that because they want the instant funding. So, like, ethically, like, we were just like, or not ethically, but it was just like in order of opportunity, we were like, do we offer this? Like, is it something that would actually be wanted? Right? Like, it really isn't. Like, it's almost like to the point where if you charge too much, should that person just go to a broker and just deposit that money with max leverage? Right. So it's kind of like figuring out how do you price it in a way where it truly actually still is an opportunity for the traders? Because that's the goal in all of that we're doing, is that there actually is this exponential opportunity if you trade with us versus depositing those funds. Like if you buy a 100K account for $500, there's people that are like, oh, what's the drawdown on that? And then that's what you're actually. But the reality is, like, if you put up $500, like, you're getting buying power as if you had, you know, $20,000 or something. If you end up passing and putting it on an unregulated broker with like max leverage, right?
And the benefit of trading with like the funded trader is that you have those limits, those limitations, those parameters. Like SMB Capital, for example, they have a risk manager, right? So if you like are hitting your daily drawdown, they'll shut it off. You can't place a trade, right? You call up and say, hey man, you have to get like permission from like your manager or whatever to expand your daily drawdown limit.
Right.
So like you're simulating, you know what I'm saying, like great trading like terms for like traders, right? So I don't think like without going the funded route, I would have had this sort of discipline. You know what I'm saying? No. I think it really helped me out. Like it really helped me confine my my risk as well as focus on honing my skill to be able to grow an account. Like my equity curve is growing within limitations of trade. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know when you're good, because anybody could like throw a bunch of like over leverage and hit like, you know, $20,000 once.
Lucky.
But can you right and get lucky, right?
And how much will you spend to get that?
Exactly.
Challenge fees,
right. And then but can you consistently, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have like a risk to reward and win rate relationship, right? That affords you like over the series of trades, your equity curve is growing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that like that's what the funded trader also offers, right? The beginner trader, like they have to figure out. That's what I was figuring out. Like, okay, how can I hit 8% or 10% or whatever, like over time? Oh, you know what? I have to become consistent enough to like, you know, take profits. You know what I'm saying? And grow this equity curve. So it's about the equity curve rather than just like the gamble. You know, the lottery.
And listen, for me, it's like, it's just like I was a trader trading myself, and I was like, all right, well, the odds are against me in terms of my success, and how do I improve those odds? And knowing that people fail to maintain the discipline over and over and over again, right? It's like, okay, well, there's this business where we're testing them and trying to see who actually can maintain the discipline. And for us, it's shown that the edge is there in terms of we're finding traders that ultimately are making the best decisions. And especially like looking into the data on like who's funded and this and that. So it has always just been me coming to the realization that it's just extremely hard for people to make good decisions over long periods of time.
What's a pattern that you're seeing amongst like your funded traders?
I think it's kind of interesting. Like people have to really look at the bigger picture in terms of how much money you spend on the challenges versus how much in payouts. Like you see people like, oh, I got paid this and this and this. And truly you could get paid $60K and pay $60K in challenge fees. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good situation at all. So I think you got to be really realistic. Like there's like a strike rate and a win rate on the account, right? But there also is a strike rate and a win rate on the challenges. Like if you're just going break even all the time on challenges and spend 6 months, you just lost a ton of time.
That's right.
And that's also something that to be considered as well. So I think for me, it's you have to understand it's typical, like the win rates, the risk reward, the things that I'm seeing on the traders that are making the most money. And I hate to say this because it is discrediting the traders who truly will probably be long-term profitable. But I'm talking the traders that make a lot of money is like, they're like scalping and they're like hitting hard, like large risk reward trades. That's the win rate doesn't have to be that great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're failing a lot of accounts. So their mentality is like, we're just going to fail a lot of accounts.
Yeah.
And we're going to hit a huge risk reward on trades.
Yeah.
And we're going to risk a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's like gambling.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
I see. Yeah.
So
I think I took a different route. Like, just kind of like, I focus on consistent payouts. They were smaller, you know, and then now it's like once I have consistency, all I need now is more capital. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, if I have $3 million in funding, you know, 10%, you know, a month, or not even, or just 5%. Let's say 5%. Yeah, 5% a month. That's very realistic.
Way more than enough.
You know? Yeah, you know, way more than enough. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even have to risk crazy. You know what I'm saying, to get 5%. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the route that I'm taking now. I think that's like a longer term, more realistic, more sustainable, you know, sort of route. And then eventually I want to, you know, get even larger, 30, 40, 50 million, you know, and then 3%, you know, 4% returns, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Low returns, you know, and then at the end of the year, it's like, you know, we had 27%, you know, on big capital though, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it, like from the long term.
So I want to ask you a question. Like if you go from a 100K account, right, and then 500K in funding, how do you adjust the risk dynamically? Like, do you just go, oh, I'm risking 1% on this account, but now I have 500K, I'm going to do 1%? Or do you dial it down? Because the money that's at play is larger.
Yeah.
And does that fuck with you mentally?
Yeah. So,
right?
So I think, like, what I found is every time I leaped up to another level, I had to like dial the risk down a little bit to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a sense of like, oh man, I'm gonna lose this. You know what I'm saying? I need to hoard this money, you know? So I dial it down like 0.5%, sometimes 0.25% until I just kind of get into a rhythm, you know, use a trade copier and trade the accounts.
Yeah. So what are some habits that you do? It seems you pretty level-headed, right? Like what are some habits that you do to kind of maintain this level?
Yeah.
In the mind.
So I have like morning prayer, you know, some people can meditate, but you know, morning prayer, like in my religion, we pray 5 times a day, you know what I'm saying? So it helps that right there alone kind of like helps me throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? So prayer, meditation. Another thing is a report card, daily report card, DRC is what I call it, right? So it's where I focus on one goal, like for the day, like trading goal. And then like I have like a trading plan in that daily report card, right? Things that I do every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's the prayer, it's the daily report card. I'm normally journaling, you know, these are things like, right? But one thing that was a game changer, we mentioned it earlier, is like recording myself. You know what I'm saying? I record like my analysis, I record my trades, and then I go back and review them, right? So what I'll notice is, okay, I could have entered a little earlier, right? Or I entered too late, right? Or like, funny story, I'm in phase 2 on like a 200K account, and my mom calls me and I'm about to enter to a trade. So I'm like literally entering like my stop loss numbers. My mom calls me, right? And this is a trade to beat the challenge, right? So my mom calls me and she's asking me about, you know, doing something for her or whatever. And I'm just so used to like answering the phone when my mom calls. You know what I'm saying? That's mama, right?
Yeah.
So so she's like asking me things and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look back, the trade is gone. And then I'm mad, right? So I'm like, all right, I got to get in.
Oh my God. So, it's over.
It was over. Like
it's over.
Yeah, you know, it's over from there, right?
Yeah.
And all of this is recorded, right? So, you know, I got in, you know, basically.
In terms of audio as well? Or
audio
just
as well. Turn on the mic.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So that
That's
you can hear what's going on. You can hear yourself talking, right? And you go back and listen, and then you see all types of things that they're habits that you've gathered, and you would have never thought like that these are things that are holding you back, right?
Damn.
So like every time I'm up in the trade, I get on Discord and start taking pictures of it, and I'm dropping it in the chat, right? And this is messing me up because I should be locked in, looking for opportunities to scale in instead of like getting on Discord or IG, right? So I implemented a bunch of systems around like all these different little habits that I found out through recording myself, you know what I'm saying? And then also one other thing is like I have an editor. You don't have to have an editor, but it's easy to pay a guy to create highlight reels for me. So my playbook, like I have like, let's call it the TFT trade, right? So the TFT trade, I just like every time I win in the TFT trade, I add it to this highlight reel so I can watch it later on to help like my imagery, like the amount of times that I have contact with this setup.
This is crazy.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So so that's why I can do the docuseries, because it's like I've seen these, I eat I'll eat breakfast and just be watching, like at home, I'll just be watching these setups. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If I'm bored or something, I'll just go outside and I'll just watch them. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe, I learned this from like
You're
Kobe
studying,
and Tom Bryan and Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now I've seen this setup 1,000 times. I didn't have to wait on it in the market. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. Like if you wait on the like live market, you'll slow down your development. You know what I'm saying? But if you record these setups and you can watch them later, then you amplify or you increase the amount of time that you see them. You know what I'm saying? Just like sports players, like they shoot 500 shots, 1,000 shots. Kobe, used to practice the same move like over and over and over.
It's the same thing.
So it's the same exact
thing.
thing.
Like Kobe, I know that he would do where every offseason, he would just focus on like one shot, like one area of the court or one move, and he would just bring that up.
Yep.
So that's the same way with trading.
Yep.
I do wonder though, it's very different person to person, but it is a game of starting with one setup and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 10, right? And it's like, how many setups do you think you have at this point?
Probably about 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And so like I have a core set of 8, right? But then I have some that are fundamental, like the debt, like whenever we get into like the debt ceiling, negotiations, right? You'll see the stock start selling off. So I have an entry for debt ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So that, and I took screenshots of my trades that I took like during the debt ceiling. So I went back in time. I put articles like that are all about the debt ceiling, what happens like if we default, et cetera, right? So that if it comes back around like 2, 3, 4 years from now, I'll have those setups. I have like articles to refer to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't trade every single setup every day or very often. I have like a core of 8, but when it comes to setups, I'm constantly archiving things that make sense.
The reality though is, as you build the amount of setups up and then potentially hire underneath, then those people are utilizing your setups, and you could hypothetically end up trading every day, all the time.
And that's what I keep referencing SMB, but that's what these big firms are doing.
For those that don't know, SMB is like pretty much, I think, the biggest prop firm
one of the
in the
biggest
US.
Like traditional prop firm. Yeah, one of them. Yeah,
there's a few others too.
There's a few others, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing, right? So like when you asked about scalping, like how can I get into scalping? One of the ways is storing it in the playbook, recording and watching the recordings. You know what I'm saying? Paper trading it first, right? And then now like it's just like in basketball, you have layups, you have free throws, you have mid-range, you have three-pointers, and you work on them. Like my son, he plays AAU, right? So I'm like, all right, son, you're gonna do 50 layups, right? You're gonna do 50 layups a day, right? Now you're gonna shoot 50 mid-ranges a day. You know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna do three-pointers, right? To me, it's just like incremental growth. So I'm good with these 8 intraday. Now I can start to play around with the scalping, right? And then I'll start to do swing trading. Like I heard a guy, one guy, Lance Brightstein. I'm just throwing like little tidbits of people out there like that are like really in the space, right? He said he found out that he would never make 100 million until he started position trading. And I'm like, damn, like I never even thought of position trading, but maybe that'll be a possibility for me one day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like there's levels, and I'm here now. I'm at the stage. But this is not the end. It's a long term, as you mentioned. It's a long game, So maybe one day I'll be position trading.
There's a lot of levels to reach.
There's a lot of levels.
In terms of goals, sorry to wrap it up. What are some goals for the next couple of years, whatever this year?
Immediate, like it's $2 million in funding. That's immediate. Another goal would be like my community. I want to help like 100 people get funded. You know what I'm saying? I think we're about 35 right now, or so. So I want to help people. So I'll be pushing people to TFT,
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Yeah. So you can say, man,
it.
there's a lot of guys from Profit X in here,
Let's go.
Yeah. So, and then from there, I really want to start like doing more like live morning meetings, kind of like a SMB, you know what I'm saying? Where like people can see me trade, and I have others like that are on the team and we're all trading, you know what I'm saying? And expanding like the playbook, you know what I'm saying? That's something else. And then I have other business aspirations as well, So I think that's like, just short little.
You do anticipate getting into other business besides trading?
Yeah,
sure?
definitely.
Yeah, that's part of the plans?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's important to make things exponential, to provide stability, as you're, like we said, you're pulling profits out of the market, putting those into other vehicles that could potentially, give yourself returns, even if it's just position trading.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I appreciate you hopping on. One last thing, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so
we'll post below too. But
okay, yeah. So you can find me at Profit X Abdullah. Yeah, Profit X Abdullah on Instagram. On YouTube, just type in Abdullah Rashid, and you'll see me pop up as well. So yeah, those two. I'm not on Twitter yet, but I'll be on there.
Well, listen, we appreciate the support. Thank you for coming out for the weekend. It's been a hell of a weekend.
Yeah.
And hopefully another podcast to come soon.
Definitely, bro.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
you, man.
Let's go.